Welcome to Classic Recaps. Today, I will explain a 2016 fantasy film, Gods of Egypt. Get comfortable. The film begins in Egypt, divided into two and ruled by two kings, who happen to be brothers. Horus, Lord of Air, is the heir to Osiris' kingdom and poses a threat to Set, who covets his brother's throne. Bek, a thief, steals a dress for his girlfriend, Lady Zaya, from a store so that she can attend the coronation in it the following day. At the coronation, King Osiris' spokesman presented the gods as they arrived at the coronation. Present at the coronation are Hathor, goddess of love and wife of Horus, Nephthys, goddess of protection and wife of Set, and Thoth, god of wisdom. Meanwhile, Bek is in the crowd with Zaya heading to the coronation. He has been nice to strangers in the crowd just so he can pick their pockets. As soon as Horus knelt to be crowned king, Set arrived at the event. He hugged his brother and nephew, and they exchanged pleasantries. He presented his nephew with a gift, a horn. Set tells Horus to blow the horn, but as he does, a battalion of Set's army marches forward. Set brought forward a sword their father gave him, handed it over to Osiris, and asked him to fight him so that it was his turn to be king. Osiris refuses to fight his brother, but Set ends up killing him. Right there, Set declared himself the king of Egypt and commanded that the crowd bow before him or they be slain. Horus is enraged at Set for killing his father and picks up the sword. He and Set battle each other, but Set overpowers him. They transform into their beastly forms and continue fighting. With the help of his soldiers, Set defeated Horus. Horus has a gift of sight, so Set plucked out his two eyes. Set picked up his sword to finish off Horus, but Hathor, the goddess of love, went on her knees and pleaded for his life. Amid the chaos, the mortals flee, and Bek loses Zaya in the crowd. Set became the king, and all of Egypt suffered. Many mortals were forced into slavery, and the gods who stood against Set paid with their lives. Many mortals trusted Horus to deliver them from the cruelty of Set, but since he was blind, Horus went into exile. Years later, Bek discovered that Zaya had been held captive by a cruel master named Urshu. Bek had gone to secretly see Zaya at the house of her master. Zaya told Bek that if only someone could sneak into Lord Set's vault and recover Horus' eyes so he could have his powers again. Bek thought it was a bad idea to walk into the temple of a god with the intent of stealing from him. However, Bek later agrees to steal the eye of Horus, and they look through the shelves to see if they can find the plan of the vault built by Urshu, as Urshu is Lord Set's architect. Bek plans to break into the vault. Bek later found the plan of Lord Set's pyramid of sand, which is said to be the pit to the center of the world and the source of his power. Meanwhile, Hathor has become mistress to Lord Set. Urshu showed up at Set's temple to give a report on the progress on the building of the sand pyramid, while Bek, on the other hand, made his way to Lord Set's vault to steal Horus' eyes. He fought his way through several traps that were put in place to guard the vault. His mission is successful, but as he gets to Urshu's house, Zaya is ambushed because Urshu has found out that not only did his house serve as an aid for fornication for Bek and Zaya, but also the theft Bek carried out at Lord Set's vault. Urshu demanded the stolen item from Bek and asked his guard to feed both Bek and Zaya to the jackals, unaware he was handed a fake item. As Urshu was about to leave, Bek uses Horus' eye to blind Urshu and his guards so he and Zaya can escape. Bek dashed towards a horse carriage close to them with Zaya and ran for their lives. However, Urshu shot an arrow that hit Zaya in the chest, and she died. Devastated, Bek vowed to make everything right, moving off the carriage and into a cave where Horus hides. Bek asked Horus to revive Zaya from the dead in exchange for the eyes he brought for him. Horus lies that he can bring her back from the dead so he can have his eyes back. Horus called Lord Anubis to guide her into the afterlife. Bek informs Anubis that she died as a slave without treasure and won't be allowed through the final gate since a mortal can't pass into the afterlife without a treasure. Lord Anubis escorts Zaya to the afterlife anyway. Bek gave the recovered eye to Horus and asked that he brings Zaya back from the afterlife. Horus told Bek that nobody could return from the afterlife, but the journey through the 9 gates will take 7 days, and only the king could make Lord Anubis turn back. This means that if Horus can kill Lord Set 7 days before and takes the crown back, Zaya can be brought back to life. Urshu broke the news of the break-in and theft to Lord Set, and they went to check out the cave where Horus and Bek kept Zaya's corpse. On the other hand, Bek and Horus had gone high up to the mountain to pray to the great Ra god of the sun for strength to transform because he only had an eye and couldn't transform. After his prayer, Horus transformed and carried Bek. He flew to his grandfather's ship to seek help to defeat Lord Set. Horus asked that his grandfather grant him the power to fly to the Nile because he was not powerful enough to defeat Lord Set without both eyes. He also fetched a few drops of water of creation from his grandfather to quench Lord Set's fire, which would weaken him and kill him. Ra fights off a shadow beast that threatens to devour all of creation and tells Horus he doesn't want to interfere in his conflict with Set. Meanwhile, Lord Set had sent out a few of his guards to hunt down Horus. However, Horus defeated them except for one who returned to Lord Set and told him that Horus had a mortal accomplice. He adds that the mortal bargained for the revival of Zaya from the afterlife for Horus I, and Lord Set killed the guard for his incompetence. Lord Set then asked his mistress, Hathor, if she could use her powers to find out about the afterlife and the 9 gates. Instead, Hathor secretly used her powers to discover Horus' whereabouts and got caught by Lord Set, who tried to kill her. However, Hathor fled using her powers. Then Lord Set appointed 2 female hunters to tail Horus and Beck since he knew their whereabouts. The 2 female hunters were able to tail Horus and Beck, who defeated them and their beast pets. Horus told Hathor they were planning to break into Lord Set's temple because Beck had seen the plan and knew the way. Hathor then asks how they will defeat the Sphinx that Lord Set captured to guard his fire. The Sphinx will kill whoever enters if they cannot answer its riddle. Horus then suggested they ask Thoth for help, and they went to visit him. He agreed to go with them to Lord Set's temple. Meanwhile, Hathor discovers Horus has been lying to Beck that Zaya can be brought back to life and challenges him. She tells Horus to tell Beck the truth, but since Beck is the only one able to quench Set's fire, Horus wouldn't dare to tell him the truth. When they got to the plain towards Lord Set's temple, they had to wait till it got dark because it was too dangerous to cross. While they wait, Hathor sat next to Beck and told him that she was once the mistress of the West and her duty was to help dead souls make their way to the afterlife. She used her powers to summon Zaya so she could communicate with Beck. Even though they couldn't see themselves, they could hear each other's voices. Beck assured Zaya that Horus was a good man and promised to bring her back to life. As they communicated, Lord Anubis breached the conversation as it is forbidden for the dead to speak with the living. Beck could pass through the gate when it was dark enough, and they arrived at Sphinx. He asked an answer to his riddle, but Thoth misses it a few times and is almost crushed by the Sphinx, and finally, he gets the answer, and the Sphinx vanishes. As they walked towards Lord Set's fire to drop a few drops of creation water, Horus and Hathor got trapped. The water of creation that Horus had fetched from his grandfather fell from his hand. Lord Set marched forward majestically and took out Thoth's brain. Horus challenged Lord Set to release them from the trap so that he could fight him. In the meantime, Beck reached out to the water of creation and headed to Lord Set's fire to drop a few, but Lord Set stopped him and showed him the chain he had taken from Zaya. Set reveals Horus had lied to him and that even as king, he has no power to bring the dead to life. Beck feels betrayed and confronts Horus. However, Lord Set seizes the opportunity to reach out to the water of creation in his hand and pour it into the ground. He bid them farewell, and the temple came crashing down, but they managed to escape. Horus, in rage, told Beck that he denied his vengeance, and Beck lashed back at him for lying to him. Hathor stood and summoned Lord Anubis to come forward and demanded that he grant Beck a last chance to give Zaya mistress of the West's bracelet just so he could speak with her. This bracelet guarded Hathor against her demons. Horus was against such generosity and pleaded with Hathor not to sacrifice herself as he couldn't afford to lose her again. Instead, she kissed him and vanished, leaving the bracelet in his hand. As Zaya got to the gate and stepped forward to the throne of judgment, Lord Anubis and Beck showed up, and for the last time, he could see Zaya. Meanwhile, Lord Set has been working on becoming immortal and invincible by taking the powers of gods who rebelled against him. These powers include the golden wings of Nephthys, his wife, the brain of Thoth, god of wisdom, the heart of Osiris, and the all-seeing eyes of Horus. Soon after, Lord Set visited his father on his ship and asked why he gave the kingdom to Osiris and gave him an heir while he was denied the throne and an heir. Great Ra denied him an heir because he wanted him to take his place and fight against the beast just like he did. Lord Set told Ra that he wanted immortality so that he could rule over the land of Egypt he had conquered below. His father refuses, as he destroys the afterlife and everything else. He fought his father and killed him in a rage, destroying his ship. In the meantime, Beck and Horus returned to the capital because Lord Set was drawing Apophis to the Nile, the source of all life, so that he could drink it and destroy the creation. Horus then fought against Lord Set in a brutal fight. However, Horus has to choose between saving Beck or his eye. Instead, he chooses to save Beck, realizing his duty is to his people. This act grants him the power to kill Set, restoring balance to the land of Egypt. However, Beck succumbs to his injuries and dies, causing Horus to place his corpse next to Zaya. Sometime later, Great Ra appeared to Horus and asked if he had any requests. Horus asks that Beck and Zaya be brought back to life, and Ra agrees. Horus was crowned king of Egypt by Thoth, before all the people of Egypt. Horus said that in his reign afterlife must be earned not with gold but by good deeds, companionship, and generosity. Beck is made chief advisor and gives Horus Hathor's bracelet, allowing him to rescue her from the underworld. That was all from the video. Thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button to watch more content like this. Turn on the bell notifications so you won't miss any of our new videos. See you in the next one.